So the good news is basically that there is no one, which basically means that there is no one who has lost something, and there is no one who can find something. There is no one who can realize something. And part of that good news is that there never was anyone like that. So everything was completely kind of apparently functioning by itself. Everything was already working by itself, and everything already was itself. Everything just was itself naturally. That's the natural reality. There is nothing else to get or to see or to understand, and there never was. That's why one could say it never really worked. That's why this whole seeking drive, this whole seeking setup in a way never paid off. That was hoped to be found and arriving, a final answer, the sense to arrive, relaxation, knowing something, basically the experience to end being on a path by arriving somewhere, by arriving in some circumstance. That never paid off. That what was longed for never happened. And in the end, one could say it never happened because it was all part of a dreamed reality, namely the dream that there is someone who's separate, who needs and could do one of those things. So what we speak about here cannot be learned. It cannot be taught either. There isn't anything to be learned in order to become a fulfilled person. And there is no one and nothing that can be taught for becoming a fulfilled person. Because the whole impression to be a separate person is the dream. In that sense, this is not a teaching. There is no one to teach the right or wrong path. And there is no one to teach the right or wrong way to be, which seen from the person would just be another idea of there being a path. That if I am in the right or wrong way, if I behave in the right way, I will reach my goal. Or if I behave in the wrong way, I will never reach it. I'm kind of doomed to suffer. I'm doomed to suffering. All of that is a dream. There just is no separate person. And there's, with that, so to speak, everything is answered. The whole quest, so to speak, is part of that dream. There's no question. There's no real question. And of course, there is no real answer. So all there is what happens, which is looking to a screen and having thoughts and feelings and everything, nothing. That's it. That's basically it. For no one, of course. No one knows this it. No one knows what's going on. But that's not needed, obviously. It is as it is anyway. So whoever wants to ask something or comment, please do so, but keep in mind that the audio is being recorded today. So if you don't want to be on the audio, you can write in the chat. That's the other possibility. I will read it out. But feel free to speak. I like that. If you want something, if you want to say something. Okay, so I start with the chat. The first question is how to be in the space you are in. And that's exactly the question which cannot be answered. This would exactly be that question like, how can I be? What can I do? What is my part in becoming that, so to speak? And in the end, exactly that is the dreamt reality. That's the only dreamt reality, that I am someone and that there is a certain circumstance that I can land in, some space. And the assumption is that I, as Andreas, am in a certain space and that I somehow made it there by some trick, by some mystery or technique or grace even. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe I was just lucky. This would be the other coin of the story. But in the end, what we speak about here is that this whole impression that I'm someone who is now here in this circumstance, being unenlightened, be having whatever, my normal life, whatever, that I could somehow arrive in another circumstance, being know me, being enlightened, having only good feelings, having more money, whatever the idea is, and that this new circumstance will answer my longing. And that complete package, so to speak, is the dream. And in the end, it starts with, I am now here, as something which is separate, some awareness, some presence, which I am, which is separate from everything else. So that's the dilemma, and that's why this is not a personal teaching, because in a way it can't teach you anything. It doesn't even recognize you as someone that could be spoken to, in a sense like, do that, pull yourself together, meditate, stick to the path, and all those things. Because all of that is completely recognized is too much. It would be already a state, because this is not recognized as existing, as being something that exists. In that sense, there is no answer. Okay, I go on. Things like self-image or self-worth are totally useless. One could say so, yes. But they seem to be very important and the building stones in the story of the me. Oh yeah, this is who I think I am. How can be a worth to someone, and who could measure that? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. This whole movement with creating a positive self-image or know one's own worth and self-worthiness, the movement towards it, they were all part of the personal game. So of course a lot of people have a very bad self-image and they don't feel worthy, so of course they try to answer that with getting a better self-image. So within the story it's logical, but yes, it would just be within the story for someone. And working in the end with illusory values, so to speak, a self-image and the worthiness of the self, which is kind of, those things don't really exist as such. So it's constant work. It's something that you, like every method, so to speak, it's something that you seem to have constantly work for. But in order to work for those, you of course have to be there at first. So they're just part of the dream. Okay, next question. Is there any free will? If not, why does it feel like we have it? Well, there is no answer to that. Free will or not, there is no one who can follow it, at least. So you are free to want what you want, but there is no one who can do it. And in the end, I'm not right. Actually, you can't even choose what you want, because what you want, what you think, how you are, already is what apparently happens. So there is no one even in choice about that. In that sense, there's no free will. But showing that you can't act accordingly again shows that there is no free will. Because the person would think, if I understand that, I would be able to act differently because I understand that there is no free will. No, there is no free will. already. There never has been. Okay, next question from the chat. Hi, Andreas. Is there only one of us? No, actually, there is not even one of us. There is no us. There isn't even one. There is none. So there is also no real us going on. I hope that's all right for you. Okay, next question. Is there spirituality at all? It seems that thinking that we are separated from the rest have created spirituality, me and the beyond or God. The need for something outside of me to long for. Yes, absolutely. So in that sense, one could say spirituality itself, or what is regarded as spirituality, is based on the impression that there is someone who's separate. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like the attempt to answer this additional illusory need that seems to come out of self-consciousness, the illusion of self-consciousness, of course. Yeah. But of course, for the person, anything can become a religion, of course. Capitalism, materialism, science, family, relationship. The person can turn anything into a religion, of course. But yeah, spirituality is based on the assumption, which is coming from a personal experience, that I'm here and that there is something beyond, and that somehow I can consciously become in that beyond, or that I could consciously arrive there, or at least have a very, very good relationship with it. But usually it's just a mix of holy theories and somehow try to create good feelings. That's usually what the outcome is. So next question. So there's nothing spiritual in Andreas? No, I'm sorry. Well, I somewhere have some Shiva and Buddha pictures in my flat, but they are empty. They're just the rest. There was nothing. there was nothing there which what they could be replaced. And of course, no need to. Yes. Okay. Question. You talk about this so beautifully. I was meditating, trying for so many years, and this is so simple. Yes, there aren't really words to describe this, but could it be said that this is all the time in the background? It just is so simple that the me just can't see this. But it's absolutely clear that there is no me. Thank you for the clarity. Yes, in a one, I don't really, in a one could say this, but I don't really like that picture. But But yes, in a way one could say it's actually not even in the background. The funny thing is that it was it exactly 100%ly all the time, exactly what was happening. But yes, seen from the person, so to speak. I don't know if you meant it like that. I'm just saying why I don't like that picture. But because seen from the person, it is something that's in the background or somewhere there. That some people have the experience to somehow be carried by existence and such, which is all right. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we speak about actually isn't beyond. It's exactly what happens. It's not underneath, not a single bit. It's exactly what is. But yes, that's the funny thing. It is this. There was not one moment where it was something else, one could say. There was no moment in anyone's life where it was something else than what happens, where it was something else than what apparently happens, and where it was something else than whole and complete for no one. Of course, it's this. It's exactly this. Yes, no, I meant it just like you said. Yeah, 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 I know. I thought so actually when I read it. That's what I mean sometimes. I don't look back on in my story and find not that I really do, but and I don't find 1 second which wasn't it or was just half it or where wholeness was in the background. No, not at all, not a single bit. It was it all the time, fully, totally, including all my beliefs and thoughts and what I thought to be wrong, right or wrong, including all what I seem, from which ideas I seem to be suffering and all those things. Yes, oh yes, absolutely. And that is simple. The person seems to live in this complex world which is somehow difficult, and that it lives in this, that it needs to do something which is difficult. I have to meditate, I should be aware, I whatever, but all underlined with I have to do it, otherwise it won't turn out good. That's just a dream.
So, what do you say to the idea of a multi-dimensional world or existence, which is some kind of concept? We live in a multi-dimensional reality or world, and we just see one or two or three dimensions, and there are much more
Yes,
to discover.
yeah, that's the thing. I just can't really say anything about it
Yeah.
because in a way, those first dimension already is a dreamt reality. So
Mm.
to find oneself in any dimension, so to speak, would be the dream. But I don't know how it would look like in the fifth dimension. I would be open to have that, but it would be another what apparently happens.
So it would make not any difference. Huh? It wouldn't make any difference.
Exactly, it wouldn't make a real difference. It would still be what it is, but it wouldn't be really different. Exactly, yes. Because the only thing that assumes difference is self-consciousness, is the person, so to speak. Nothing else really experiences difference. So, yeah. So what this message doesn't do is say, when I say this is all there is, it doesn't refer to this deeply material, not deeply, but the usually materialistic moment experience that the person would refer to, like, or there is this what I'm aware of, which would say, now we have this certain reality, and maybe there are other realities behind it. But in a way, the whole idea of there being realities behind now, so to speak, starts with there is one reality, which is now. That sets the border, actually.
But what you say is you don't set a border, as you say. You can you say it's open for everything to appear.
So to speak, but it's not my openness. I'm not in an openness to let things appear in front of me. That would be a concept. In a way, the openness, or Tony would say boundlessness, already is the case, exactly. There is already no one controlling what's allowed to happen and what not, or what's allowed to appear and what not. Exactly, yes. In that sense, it's openness. There is nothing that says that's on a par. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, maybe don't do that. No, it's just theoretically it could be anything. Theoretically. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not a state, because some people would say that a state of pure awareness is also openness, in a sense, like, within my neutral awareness, everything is allowed to come and go, for example. So I don't know if I'm an open person or not. Not.
So it's neither inclusion nor exclusion. You
Exactly.
don't exclude anything what could happen or appear.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't say, for example, a simple example, I can't see any alien now, so they don't exist.
No, exactly. No.
Maybe they can appear, and then I see it, they appear. Huh?
No, it's more blind. This is still kind of operating within the person's experience.
Yeah.
This is exactly what this whole here and now movement works with. All I can surely know is what I experience right now. That's how they argue, so to speak. And exactly, this is setting a border, but it's actually already coming from a separate reality, namely me and what I'm aware of. And the person can understand that. That's why this teaching is so attractive, because on the one hand, it can say, yeah, of course, if I don't see the alien now, it does not exist for me. But that's left away, of course, then. It just ends with saying it doesn't exist. But in the end, what is meant, it doesn't exist for me. Yeah. And then you end up having one thing that's real. Me and this moment, which actually are two things, but suddenly you have one thing that's real and a lot of things that are not real. And the person can follow that by its own experience, because, yeah, true, the person can say, if I think about that, if I inquire into how I experience, I saw you. Okay, when the person inquires into how is my experience, can't read. I have to. All right. So if the person inquires into how its reality is, it can exactly came up with that conclusion. Yes. All I can know is I'm here now, and all I have is this moment. Yeah. And from that, again, all kind of conclusions, stories, ideas. Okay, I go on in the chat. There's just going on. Yes, there is no awareness. Yes. Making decisions doesn't happen. Yes, absolutely. And then from the story, this just happens and this seems to retire. Yes, that sounds good. Cool. There is no me to decide. Yes, absolutely. There never was anyone deciding. Okay, next comment. All the changes in the world that are appearing, the coronavirus, economics, upheaval, etc., has no significance and meaning at all. That's true, yes. They don't really happening, you would say? Mind-blowing. Oh yeah, of course. Yes. Yes, which doesn't really change anything, but yes, all those things aren't things that happen, that really happen. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is that the observer of those things doesn't happen. The observer of those things is illusory already. So there actually can't be any statement about what seems to be observed. I mean, including oneself, of course. Oneself, so to speak, isn't happening as well. It's not that I'm real and the outside world isn't happening. This isn't real happening as well, of course. By being exactly as it is. It's not that something has to drop first in order for this not to be happening. While it happens, it's not happening, one could say.
In one of your books, you made the distinction between real illusion and illusionary reality.
Yes.
So, and you, I as when I remember it right, you say it's all a real illusion, but not illusionary reality, or something like that. Can you explain this? These two different. Yeah, you have to now.
Well, what I probably meant
Yes, what you probably meant. Okay.
Well, in a way, one could say everything is real and unreal. So
Yeah.
there are teachings out there which say everything is an illusion. Usually there are teachings out there which say I am, or awareness, is the only reality and everything else is an illusion. But I wouldn't say that sitting in front of a screen and being you and being me is an illusion. It's just real and unreal. It's unknowable. It's no thing. It's real and unreal. But it's not an illusion, which means that actually it is something else. No, it's everything. That's the natural reality, exactly as it is. In that sense, I would say this is not an illusion. There is a Buddhist word that I like very much. It's dreamlike. That's real and unreal. Sitting in front of a screen, being you, being me, is not a dream, but it is dreamlike. One could say the only illusion is someone, you, believing to have an experience of it. That's the only illusion, which is also real and unreal as an illusion. Maybe that's what I meant. There just isn't anything other than what apparently happens. And even that isn't this, a happening in a sense of, there is one thing that's real, finally. No, not in that sense.
Can you say it's all an illusion and this is the only reality?
Of course, I mean, in the end,
Somehow.
You can say whatever you want.
You can't fix it. Yes, I know. You can't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Tony would say it's an appearance. Everything is an appearance, and all there is an appearance. Yeah. Yeah. All there is what apparently happens. Yeah. Which is real and unreal. Well, that's it. There's nothing behind, no within, no ground. Yeah. That's the natural reality. No place to land in. Not one circumstance to arrive in. No conclusion possible from this. No. Not even really mysterious. It's not a big thing. Because it's exactly this. But again, the only one which would state, it's real and I'm really angry, and who would live in this story, in this experience with itself, would just be self-consciousness. That which turns it into only being real is an illusion. But it's not a big thing that it's not real or something. It just isn't real, really. Okay, questions. Can there still be resistance to things like emotions? Like, for example, I don't feel like feeling sad or whatever. Oh yeah, there can be resistance, apparently, because it would just be what apparently happens. I don't know, against feeling, emotions and stuff. I don't really know. I think that resistance is illusory often, but yes. Yeah. It can happen. It would just be what apparently happens, of course. But oh yeah, resistance. Yeah, absolutely. And the next question is, the illusion is that we are separated, creates what we call reality, which isn't real. Exactly. Yeah. The whole impression of there being an existence starts with a person, which experiences itself as existent. That's the only thing that does that. Nothing does feel existent, the tree or the cloud, or not even the human body, so to speak. It's just self-consciousness, which assumes itself to exist within the body by experiencing itself. That's the assumption, the self-experience, self-awareness. It's incredible, yes. It is, yeah, yeah. Next question. Do you still fantasize, like, for example, about what other people think of you? I don't think so, to be honest. I don't know. Where's the line? Maybe some, maybe there can be the thought, like, I don't know. Oh, what was he thinking? Well, I don't know, but no, not really. I wouldn't call that fantasy. I think there's not really fantasizing going on. That sounds too strong for me. Of course, thoughts can happen, all the thoughts, but I don't think so. But I can't draw, this doesn't mean anything. This just is what apparently happens,
Hello, Andreas.
Hello.
Hi. It is so amazing. I mean, whatever it is, apparently, it is it. It is it.
Yeah.
Totally free and unconditionally, totally empty.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Totally ordinary. Nothing special. There is nothing in it. No one in it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It is unescapable.
Yes. Totally, of course. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yes. I just, I just started to try to fantasize about how other people adore me. Oh,
It is so stunning, but it's totally ordinary.
oh yes.
Nothing special.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I read it out. I used to kind of freak out at the suggestion that whatever didn't really happen, regardless of whether it was the discomfort in my arm when I pinch myself or whether COVID-19 is happening. It was when Jim spoke of everything being both real and unreal, apart from me, which is an illusion, that this apparent understanding changed on an intellectual level at least. More likely, it was the first time I actually heard what you, Tony, and Jim all point to. Yes. Yes, thank you. That's what apparently happens. Yeah, I mean, the thing for the person is that, of course, it wants to understand it, but of course, it also wants to use those informations. So it's kind of always looking for what is the change in that, or what should change for me in order to be like that. And of course, when it said nothing is real, the person thinks, oh, then has to be completely different. It has to look differently. It has to, not that it really imagine, I don't know, but yeah. Yes, everything is real and unreal. But no one knows that, so. This message is not an attempt to make something go away. There isn't anything present in the first place which could be made go away. Comment: non-dual living in a dualistic world, and both are not separated from each other. Yes, I wouldn't really say that there's a dualistic world, so to speak. In that sense, everything is non-dual or non-dual, whatever. Undivided. Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, question. Could you please explain what experience is in more detail? Well, more or less, maybe first, it's a dream that there is such a thing. So there is no experience as such. It's a complete illusion. It's a dreamt reality. But seen from the person, or how the person would report how it lives, so to speak, it's I'm me, and everything else is only an experience. Everything else is not me. And seen from the person, this seems to be deeply felt and experienced. I'm separate, I'm me. And all I have to come in contact with the outside is to experience, to be aware of, to be conscious of. That's in a way, both are the same thing. That's the connection to the separate world, but also the separation. In a way, they just go together. So that's the dilemma for the person, so to speak. It never is everything. It only has an experience of a part of everything. So this is what I would describe as experiencing. Those words would all go together. Be conscious of, be aware of, experience, living in focus and attention, living in attention. Attention which is centered here and could go outside and towards oneself. And that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. That's totally all right. But it seems to be accompanied by a sense of unfulfillment. It's a dreamt reality. As I said in the beginning, in the end, the surprise is that there never was such a thing as experiencing. What happened? Next question. What happens with the energy when body dies? Or energy is already illusion? Yeah, one could say so. The assumption that there is a separate energy, a separate life energy in your body. That would be. Usually that's actually the person. That's what the person assumes itself to be. Somehow the energy which runs the body. Some spirit. But yes, there isn't really such a thing. Okay, is it, I know what you are? It is. It belongs to the what experience is. I decide what you are. I give you meaning. All that says yes, but in a way, these are already conclusions from. In a way, it seems to start. It's all a dream. It seems to start with a sense of I am, with a subtle, which isn't logical. It's somehow a self-experience. There seems to be something. There is something here which doesn't need to have a story for a moment, for a while. There can be just pure presence, a sense of pure presence. And out of that do come all the stories and conclusions and namings. But also, the person can understand that every story is a concept, for example. It can understand that the story about a chair, for example, is a concept. But even when you would leave the story of a chair away from the chair, sorry for the example, but it would still experience something which is not itself, apparently. That's a cool one. I got a comment. Jesus said, the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. What this means? Well, this was before he got liberated on the cross. He was still believing in something called the spirit, which this describes the wonderful futility of the person to try to lose weight but never manage. The person would say it happens because the body is weak, but I would say it happens because there is no spirit. there is no one. But see, Jesus wasn't perfect either. I'm sorry. Next question. What is identity and identification? Well, it depends. It depends on how you would see it. But one could also say to the setup of experiencing, that's kind of identification. For me, identification has nothing to do with what is important to me or not. So something in the story, some things seem to be important to me in the story, but for me, this has nothing to do with being identified or not. That just is what apparently happens. Well, where I could bring the word identification in is experiencing. Seen from the person, everything that I experience, I'm already somehow identified with. It's just describing a relationship. Or maybe then adding a story to it. The person is maybe identified with things where it assumes to have some gain from them. So it doesn't want to let go of whatever. But it's a dream. In that sense, identification is a pure dream. There is no such thing. Could you say, next question, could you say that when there is me, it makes everything real? Yes. Reality, it is aware, it experiences, body is weak. It just can't be being this. Yes, exactly. Simple. The me makes everything so complicated. Oh yes. Apparently the person turns everything into something that's real by only experiencing it. That's the thing. The person can't just think thoughts. It can't just feel sad. It can't just sit in a room. all it has is the experience to do that or to be that from a separate standpoint. Exactly. And that's, so to speak, one could say, the separate reality and the unfulfilled reality. It never is total what it is, what happens. It never is totally what happens. It's always just a little bit at the side and just looking. It's just looking how it looks to be sad, kind of. It's, it just tries how it is to think, but it never is there and thinks and feels and acts. And not that it could do that, of course. But that's its dilemma. That's its apparent dilemma, to only be me and automatically to only be separate and to only observe, to only experience. And very simply spoken, one could say, then it's not really fun anymore. Okay, next question. Jesus asked, Father, why did you leave me? Or something like that. Yes, that was a short minute before his death, when he noticed that his own method doesn't work anymore. Because in this moment he couldn't believe in God anymore too. So he was finally directly asking, oh, where are you actually? I'm hanging on the cross and now you are gone? Where are you? And God didn't answer, by the way. Jesus just died without getting an answer. That was liberation, so to speak. Apparently.
But he resurrected.
Well, let's say it like that.
3 days after.
Yeah, well, he was seen 2 weeks afterwards, but as far as I know the story, he had more like the shape of an appearance. I think he looked a bit ghost-like or something in the story.
Yeah.
So, it's a story, No, exactly. Next question. Is there substance to Andreas? Do you feel that you exist at all? No, of course not. No. That's the thing. There is no self-experience, and the only thing that exists itself that experiences itself as existence is the dream. Okay. Yes, that's just a story. Of course, this was a story. Jesus never existed, of course. There never was a Jesus. Yes, God didn't answer. Yeah. Okay, next comment. It's so weird that this whole seemingly personal thing is completely impersonal. Yes, it's so different. It's so different from what the person assumes it to be. Not that it's really different, but it's different from the person's assumptions that it believes itself to be behind anything. At least as an observer, behind any thought, behind any feeling, behind every reaction, it somehow believes this to be personal within oneself, within the others. And in the end, to assume there's some God or divine energy behind existence, in a way, is also a very personalized picture, as if there's always something behind it, with direction, with intention, with conscious choice, and it's just not there in the end, including all those deeply assumed personal things, like what I think, how I react, how when I'm fair, when I'm unfair, whatever, all those things. Absolute. There is no one. And there never was anyone. That's the reason why I hardly think anything changes when the illusion of the person drops. It didn't do all of that stuff before, or no. Can be good or bad. Well, oh yeah, okay. Then someone commented, but Jesus immediately corrected himself by saying, "Not my will, but thy will be done." Yeah, all right. That's all right. He was dying anyway. Oh, well, apparently he resurrected at this appearance. Apparently. Well, question. I guess you don't have the experience of the body. How does that work? Well, that sounds much more mysterious than it actually is, because of course a body is what apparently happens, and there are feelings and stuff. But yes, there's just no one in it having the experience of there being a body. So a body is totally itself. It's real and unreal, but it's the natural reality, feelings, being a body. But there is no one in it and only experiencing. So the person would turn it around. It turns around and there's no experience of a body. The person would hear, how does that be? I'm here, but I don't feel a body, or what? No, in the end, it's the other way around, kind of. There is the feeling of a body, but there's no one having it. There's no one having the body, or only have an experience of it. Next comment. What happens in deep sleep that turns me off, so to speak? Yes, exactly. Yes. And liberation would be when there's deep sleep all the time, also during the day, which can't be comprehended, as deep sleep can't be comprehended, or death, how it is to be dead, can't be comprehended. So next one. So Jesus had been liberated. Well, as I said, it's a story. In the picture that I was just drawing, that was an apparent liberation story, but it's a story. There never really was a Jesus and this whole liberation story. So it's also a quite dramatic one. So usually people die far more ordinary than the cross story. Finally, I can sleep forever. Yes, absolutely. Oh, you are, of course. There isn't anyone. That few hours of awakeness, that few hours of illusion of self-consciousness are illusory, as I said. So awakeness, the assumption to be something which is alive and awake separately as a thing, as something, doesn't happen. This is deep sleep. Kind of, apparently, of course. Okay, next question. Could it be said that even if the me can't do this, This is so relaxing, which everyone knows. When the me drops, nothing really happens because it is this already. Yes, exactly. Yes. There isn't a real dropping. There isn't a real change in that sense. Okay, last comment. There is something really cool about that. Things can't be any other way when they are. Yes, that's the freedom. Having no choice is the freedom. Nothing has a choice to be different. There is no possibility for another possibility. That's freedom. Absolutely. Everything is free to be whatever it is. Nothing's missing. There's nothing wrong in that sense with anything. Of course, there is no need to work on anything, because the moment there seems to be a possibility to be more happy, to be enlightened, you suddenly have to start to work again. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can't let go completely or whatever. I can't die or whatever, because there is this slight possibility. No, there is no possibility. There is no other possibility. There just is what apparently happens. Okay, in that sense, as I said, that just is what apparently happens. There is no other possibility, and this isn't a real possibility as well. That just is what apparently happens. That's it. It's unknowable. It's itself. It's whole and complete. It's just this. Thank you very much. I wish you a wonderful day. Nice to see you. Nice to read you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you very much,
Thank
Andreas.
you.
Thank you,
so much.
Andreas.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Andreas.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Bye,
Thank
Andre.
you.
Love
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.